Hi everybody, this is Alchemist2 and I'm back again with another book review. I just recently finished Unbroken by Hillenbrand. You might recognize her from the story of Seabiscuit, which was also subsequently turned into a film. And this is also going to receive the silver screen treatment. And I've seen the trailer for it, and I didn't know there was a book until one of my customers actually told me about it, and I thought, this sounds right up my alley. And actually, it really is right up my alley. It is by far the most remarkable World War II story I've ever read. You've got this young man, Louis Zamperini. He comes from an immigrant family. He's Italian-American. And he's kind of an outlaw when he's growing up, and he got his hands on whatever liquor he could when he was young. And I thought, yeah, this sounds like my uncle. Because my uncle says in Italy, as soon as you can hold a bottle, you can basically drink it. There's a lot of truth in that, too. And I guess when Lewis came over, he thought, well, since I can, I might as well do it. And he went through that whole idea of the whole train of drunkenness quite a few times, actually. Once because he could get into the liquor cabinet, and the other time when he comes back from, when he's rescued from Sugoi, I think it's called Sugoi. They shut it down. It was a POW camp in Japan. It's a long, arduous tale. It goes into great detail as to how Lewis is captured, and just the things that he endures are just unrelentingly, gut-wrenchingly horrid, and you think, how is he going to survive? How is he going to be able to cope? And for the longest time, one of the guards, who was called the Bird, they called him that because it was one nickname that they wouldn't get beaten up over. And all the other guards had other names. Like, they had Shithead, and they had the Mummy, and they had the Quack. The Quack was kind of this not pseudo, but a sadist who would perform experiments on the captives, medical experiments, and he would get aroused by it. I thought, ugh. Yeah, and the Bird was also another one of those guards who would get sexual arousal out of beating people up in the camp. And he had a personal vendetta against the Bird. He wanted to kill the Bird once the Allies won the war in 1945, 1944, 1945. And I think he was justified in doing so, but it's interesting. His life takes an unprecedented turn when his friend says, "Come listen to this evangelist of this Billy Graham." He said, "Okay, fine. I don't know if I'm gonna like it, but I'll go ahead and go just because you want me to." And he goes, and he gives his life over to Christ, and it's really unbelievable because he writes him a letter, and he forgives him. And I thought, holy crud! I don't hold grudges. I don't wish anybody ill, but if I were in a situation like that, I would find it very challenging to forgive somebody who had just made my life a living hell. I would still do it because I'm not the type of person who does. It's just my nature, but I try to expend kindness, and that's the whole crux of being a Christian, I do believe. I mean, it's not a label in and of itself. It's just a way of living. The whole methodology of a Christian life is doing good, being kind, expending compassion, forgiving those who have done you wrong, even though you might feel in the inner depths of your soul that you want to strangle that person. Well, no. Violence really doesn't benefit anybody, and that's basically what Lewis discovered. And he was often singled out because of his status as a Olympic miler. He broke many records, and Hillenbrand actually speaks of this with her with her interview with Random House, and they talked to her about, well, how did you discover Mr. Zataraini? And she said it was, oddly enough, it was in the article about Seabiscuit where she encountered him, and I guess that she kind of put that whole idea on the back burner, and then she turned it into a book. But now that I've seen the trailer for the film, and I really want to see it. I'm super stoked about it, and I think it's going to be absolutely stupendous. I know they're probably going to have to really water down a lot of the violence that occurred in the POW camps, because the book in and of itself is just really, really graphic. It's extremely grotesque, and just the things that happened in that POW camp at Sugawai were just absolutely atrocious. I mean, it's incomprehensible that they could ever survive. A lot of deaths that occurred really happened in the POW camps, more in Japan than in Italy or Germany combined. And that was one thing I didn't know. It's something I just encountered, and it's enriched me and horrified me at the same time. I highly recommend this book. It is just absolutely stellar. It is one of the most astronomically written books I've ever read about World War II, especially Japan. And the mindset of the Japanese and the prison guards, and a lot of the prison guards actually did something very honorable. They asked for forgiveness. They did so on. They didn't do so for their own pride for the emperor, but just because it was personal. And I thought, well, it's still honorable that they did that, because wouldn't you want to say, I'm sorry for what I've done. I was under the whole hypnotism of Hirohito at the time, and I wanted to do my best for the emperor, and that's I was brainwashed, basically. And they did get a lot of them exonerated. They had this thing. They had a plea. They had amnesty for a lot of the not POWs, but a lot of the guards that were involved. And yeah, I know I'm just going on a rant here, but this book is absolutely unbelievably good. It's just utterly moving and heart-wrenchingly touching and beautiful, and just Lewis's example, Zamperini, is just larger than life, and just his whole turnaround is really quite uplifting, I think, and I think any Christian reader will get a lot out of it, even if you're not a Christian reader. It's just the whole idea of repentance and like it says, redemption and resilience and survival. Yeah, obviously that's the more Captain Obvious thing. But that's basically all I'd have to say about Unbroken, and I'm really looking forward to the film when it comes out on the 25th of December. So until next time, everybody. Ciao, Tuesday.